Once upon a time, there was a princess. One day, the people who had loved the princess started hating her, and they sent her off to an island far, far away. Compared to her glorious life up until then, the island was very empty. Frightened by the people who had gotten angry at her without reason, the princess prayed that no one would come to the island. Still, she was very, very lonely. She wept and wondered what she had done wrong.
メドゥーサは一人になるとすぐ泣き出すでしょ。私たちの親族としてそんな恥さらしは許しません。
After a short time, her elder sisters arrived at the island.
私はメデューサなんてどうでもいいんだけど、まあ召使いは必要だし。
How wonderful! Although they were still loved by all, the princess's sisters moved there for her sake. The princess was not lonely anymore. Although the island still had nothing, she was happy because her sisters were there with her. The only things left to fear were humans. Kill, kill, kill the monster! With great courage, they came to chase the princess away. Snatch, snatch, snatch the goddesses away! She could have borne it if that had been all, but then the people began to point their swords at her two sisters. To protect her sisters, the princess decided to take revenge. How wonderful! Yes, this time she could just do to the humans as they had done to her. She killed many humans. After all, even if she tried to escape, the princess had nowhere to go but the island. I don't want anybody to come. I don't want anybody to come. She had always wanted to be left alone, in peace, with her sisters, but...
やめなさい、メデューサ。挑みに来た人間たちが命を落とすのは自業自得でしょう。けれど、それを娯楽にしてはいけないわ。
Yet still they came, one after another. Since there was no end to them, she started experimenting with new ways to eliminate them more quickly. When the trap she had devised proved effective, she found it a tad funny.
あなたの魔眼は戒めるためのもの。決して恐怖を与えるものではないのです。
But it was only right that those who had done nothing but scold the princess thus far should come to fear her as well.
それを口にするのはやめなさい。私が近頃のあなたは恐ろしいと怯えているわ。
No matter how infamous and fearsome she became, the humans kept approaching with boundless ferocity. The sisters continued to scold the princess. The princess felt too ashamed to show her body that had changed shape a little, and she left the sisters she once dearly loved. In the end, she was alone again. Sad and lonely, she hungered for new sacrifices. Come to think of it, in the beginning, we were the sacrifices. She laughed, bathed in red. She swings her daggers with delight. Cackling with scorn, she tramples them beneath her. Without rest or respite, she continues running as if fleeing something. She feels giddy with each one she crushes. Giddy with disgust. Giddy with amusement. Before long, her captivation intensifies into wild passion. Before she realizes it, she was butchering the monsters in a frenzy. She doesn't want to think about anything, so she can't help but let her primal instincts take over and enjoy the hunt. The night continues. The slaughter continues. There are no living humans in the city at night. The only ones roaming about are the monsters. And she is broken. The more she kills, the heavier her body grows. The more she crushes, the more she forgets her own words. In a word, she is broken. Suddenly, she lowers her eyes. Her body is beginning to change, just like that time. She does not scream. Her boiling head cools at an impossible speed. Ah, of course this happened. There is no time for lamentations or ridicule. In that brief moment of absent-mindedness, she is stabbed without mercy. Monsters surround the wounded beast. The remains of her humanity are on the verge of death. Impaled by multiple claws, nothing is left of her body below her chest. She has been cut into fine pieces. What remains of the blackened monster can only last a few minutes more. Through her ragged breath, she looks at her bloodied palms. Deep crimson red. She turns her claws, barely resembling human hands, to the monsters converging upon her. This corpse can still fight back. The creatures meekly decide to observe their new brethren as she dies out. Even breathing is difficult. Though she is already dying, her body continues to transform. Surely it won't stop even if she dies. After what is left of the woman stops breathing, she will disappear and be reborn as a monstrous anti-hero with no trace of her original form. She murmurs. Being still able to utter human words feels like some kind of lingering attachment, and it irritates her. Dimly, she looks at her deforming hands. She has known all along. She had confessed it to him as well. That her form was only temporary, that her true nature was that of a hideous monster. She was destined for ruin. From the moment she consumed human blood, her end had been determined. Day by day she grew. First, her body crumpled, then her heart, and finally her very being decayed. And all she ever wanted was to become stronger in order to protect her sisters. But in the end, even her sisters were nothing more than nuisances intruding upon her lair. The end of that chapter is unknown to her. At the time, she had neither eyes, nor nose, nor mouth. She had become a world that only crushed its prey. No, that had been violence committed by the monster in the first place. It had nothing to do with her before she changed. So it shouldn't be painful, but... That must have been it, she thought. And at that thought, she feels a sudden urge to gouge out her eyes. New sacrifices appear before the monster of their own accord. Joining hands, they still their trembling legs and look up at the completely disfigured monster. Said the eldest sister, Steno, in a gentle voice. Lovingly, like always, she smiles at the monster.
私は永遠に純潔を守るつもりだったわ。
grumbled the second sister, Euryale. She curses and insults her monstrous sibling, but at times she looks at the she-beast with true sadness.
まあ素敵。じゃあ満足よね、エウリアレ。これで最後まで純潔だったわ、私たち。
Steno grasps her sister's hands, her own hands, tightly, seeking comfort from their fear, never abandoning that which they hold dear.
そうね。私は嫌だけど、そうしないとあんまりにもこの子がバカみたいだし、それぐらいは意義があったものにしてあげないと。
The sacrifices think this to themselves. They were the ones who hated humans, and their youngest sister had never borne man any ill will, yet it had come to this. The two sisters were loved by man and were destined to be violated by them day after day. The elder accepted it as fate, while the younger despised it, but both of them had given up. Yet the youngest sister protected them until the end.
あなたは私たちを守った。けれど私たちを守ったメドゥーサはもういない。なら守られていた私たちも同じようになくなりましょう。
That which was lost shall never return. Steno, who had dreamed that the three of them would live forever on the island far away, closes her eyes and raises her head.
もう目の前か。じゃあね、さようなら、かわいいメデューサ。最後だから口を滑らせてしまうけど、憧れていたのは私たちの方だったのよ。
The days that have gone by shall never return. Euryale, who had believed that one day the three of them would escape the rustic temple and return home, smiles like she used to and raises her head. Stop, 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 stop! Countless snakes consume both sacrifices, without joy, without sadness. As though crushing ants, the monster grinds the sisters to a pulp. In this way, the immortal girls, retaining their form as beautiful sisters to the very end, while still alive, were absorbed into the monster. Consumed without a trace left behind, they became the monster's flesh and blood, and it continued to thrive. Thus became of the three Gorgon sisters. Thus the three goddesses banished to the shapeless isle became the monsters the people had rumored them to be. What did she love? What did she want? She had so little that was precious to her that she swore to protect them no matter what, and yet, now that she is heading to her death, well, she is being transformed. She can't even recall it. She can't stop the transformation. At this rate, she will turn into a monster and disappear. Everything will end with that. From now on, she will be summoned as a monster, not to protect humans, but to annihilate them. She can't stop the transformation. There's nothing to be done, nothing to care about. The swarm of creatures is like the band at a festival. They reveled with hatred in the birth of a new monster. Her consciousness wanes. She has a feeling that there is still something left to do, yet she can't quite seem to place it. As her life comes to a close, she quietly shuts her eyes.
誰？
It's Avenger. She noticed an unfamiliar presence peering at her.
あれ？俺が見えるの？そうか。あんたも怪物になっちまったんだな。
Though it feels like she has never heard its voice before, the laughter sounds all too familiar. A smirking grin and sneering eyes. It irritates her considerably. Her sadistic heart starts to pound again. If her body was strong, she would have leaped forward and plucked its head right off.
ああ、いや、ちょい違うか。あんたはそんなすっきりしたもんじゃない。あんた、自分が何者か自覚はある？
Aware? She isn't prepared for it, but she accepts it as truth. This heroic spirit's seat would no longer be a Medusa's, but that of the monstrous Gorgon.
なるほど。潔い。けど、あんたは怪物の定義を知らなそうだな。わかってるか？それは生きるために人を襲うんじゃなく、人を襲うために生きる生き物だ。人間社会を真っ向に端から端まで否定する殺戮機構。ただいるだけで害悪になる毒。それが怪物ってもんなんだが、自分だって言い切れる？
She already knows that. From now on, she will embody that concept over and over again.
そんなの今さら初めから私は
Since the beginning, she has been a monster. A monster camouflaged in human intellect and appearance. If she would someday become such a monster, then her true nature must be the same. That's why it doesn't matter anymore. She roamed the city at night in search of blood and found herself indulging in slaughter. Such a monster would shed its skin to reveal its true colors someday, just like this. And yet it laughs. Heartfelt mirth. Heartfelt hatred. As if to scorn the woman who, by the minute, was turning into a hideous monster.
だから、そこが違うんだ。いいかい？怪物は本能で物を殺すんじゃない。それは、優れた理性で物を殺すんだ。人の手に有り余る性能を総動員して、何の疑いもなく、何の悲しみもなく、身もだえるほどの喜びを持って殺し続けるのが怪物だ。ただなんとなくで人間を殺すだなんて、そんなのは違う生き物なんだよ。あんたはまだどっちにもなれない半端者みたいだけど、同時にどちらにも傾ける猶予がある。
Her intellect wants to just fall into the abyss already, but stubbornly clings to the cliff's edge. She continues clutching pitifully at the earth, wishing for solid ground.
それは
わからないか？血を求めるあんたと他のものが気になるあんた。それはどちらも真実だ。どっちも否定はできないだろ。欲望に優劣なんざない。どっちが大きいか、どっちが大切なのかはその場その場で変わるものだ。肝心なのはあんたがまだ持っているかどうかの話。
何を
The slightest bit of strength returns to her arm. She summons all her reserves in desperation. It is not enough to pull her out of the abyss. No matter how much she struggles, she will only disappear at this rate. Laughing, it looks down upon her.
ではと、ライダーのサーバント。 あんたはその心に望むものがまだかけらでも残っているか？
I have no desires, but there is something I truly wished for.
あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
That's right. Even if she is still Medusa now, she can't save herself if she is to become a Gorgon soon. From the start, there was never a way to save herself. So she has no desires. No matter how happy days passed her, if she would devour them all eventually, there would be nothing left in her hands. However, even one such as she can still save someone. A servant is summoned to a master to whom its nature is similar. This is all the more so if the summoning catalyst is weak. Because her master had the same fate as her, she was summoned to that girl. A girl fated to turn into a monster. The victims turned aggressors formed a contract in this world as fellow monsters. That's why she doesn't want her to end up the same. Although she can't change what she is, she can protect the girl who holds the same fate as herself. Her unfulfilled happiness. Her irredeemable sin. How deeply she loved that pretty, foolish girl's desperate struggle to put on a brave face.
え？
She stares at her hands, dumbfounded. Her transformation has halted, and she is fading away as her human self.
なぜ？
怪物じゃないからだろ。みっともないが、誰かを助けたいという気持ちがあるのなら、あんたはギリギリ人間だ。
She can hear a voice from elsewhere. The speaker is near, but can no longer be seen.
ああ、これで解決しちまったな。あんたの悩みは永遠について回るが、その願いがある限り怪物になることはない。その苦悩と同じように永遠にこちら側に来ることはない。
The presence fades. The shadow gives an all too friendly wave and disappears.
待って。あなたは。
Coughing blood, she calls out to the figure.
さすがにしつこいな、ヘビ女。大した生命力だが、今回はおとなしく死んでおけ。で、目が覚めたらマスターに謝っておくといい。ほら、俺が言うのもなんだけどさ、マスターとサーバントは仲良しじゃなくっちゃな。
Snickering, it finally disappears. In the end, she thinks it resembled a young man she knows very well. Who could that be?
そうですね。
She heaves a deep sigh. She lowers her clinging arms.
本当、私は。
And this time her eyes finally close. Relieved that rather than merely dying, she has recovered her wish, she murmurs.
もうすぐ帰りますから、待っていてください。さくら。
Swearing a promise she could never keep, the beautiful figure vanishes from the earth. Wallpaper. Wallpaper. EX block, the backside of Kibisis now open. An event has been added to the clips. Oh, it's been a while since we got an event for the clips.